Hello, I'm Bruce Lorincz, and this show is entitled Bruce on the Loose. I go ahead and talk to a lot of different people around the Wadsworth and larger community areas, and we go ahead and discern information for the public for their information and knowledge. Roger Wright is with us today. Thanks, Roger, for joining us. We're looking forward to talking about the Four Cities Compact.
Bruce, good to be here. Great. I always love the name of the show, Bruce on the Loose. Somebody turns you loose.
That's right. Look out, because here we go. Now, what about your career in Wadsworth City Schools, and in what capacities have you served?
All right, boy, I started off way back when at the Wadsworth Middle School as a social studies teacher, and then was able to go to the high school as a social studies teacher, and I coached football and basketball and track there for a while, and then got into administration at Wadsworth Middle School, and got to be the assistant principal and then the principal for 9 years, and moved up to the high school as an associate principal for a couple years, and became the director of the Four Cities Compact, which I currently do now. So 33 years in Grizzly Town here. It's been wonderful years.
That's tremendous, and I think those all those roles have really helped you as being the director of the Four Cities Compact in kind of anticipating things ahead of time.
Absolutely.
Did you have some mentors along the way?
Oh, some excellent mentors, really, from the time I started teaching, and, guys like Daryl Goddard and Phil Horsberg, those great social studies teachers that had been there for a long time, and then, certainly Chuck Parsons as an administrator was so good, and men like Ron Jones as a football coach, and Dale Fortner as an administrator, and Roger Kramer, administrator, and Steve DeShazi, and you guys were just so supportive at the middle school when I was there teaching as a young teacher.
Well, what is the Four Cities Educational Compact? Could you let the audience know what exactly we're talking about?
Yeah, that's one of the things that we really try to get the word out with the Compact. The Compact has 20 different career technical education programs, and they're all spread out at 4 high schools. So each, the Compact's just an agreement between those schools that they'll host some programs, and then they'll take kids from the other schools in those programs. And the cool thing about the Compact is the proximity of our schools. It's Copley, Barberton, Norton, and Wadsworth. So really, we're no more than 13 miles apart, is our greatest distance. So we can move kids, back and forth throughout the school day without losing a lot of time. And, that's how that works. The students, maybe a Wadsworth student, might take their program over at Barberton, and they'll do that for part of the day, but then they take their core academics back at Wadsworth High School, and then they're back at Wadsworth High School for the end of the day for all their extracurriculars.
When was the Compact formed, and has there been any discussion about any major changes, maybe adding another school district or someone not happy leaving? Is there any discussion in those areas?
Yeah, the Compact started in 1972, so it's been around a long time, and that's when really the state of Ohio said all school districts had to come up with some type of offering for career technical education. So some districts chose to enter into maybe build a career center like Medina County Career Center, brick and mortar building. They have their own, it's like their own school district. They have their own superintendent, they have their own board, teachers, everything. They have their own levies. And then some districts like Wadsworth said, we don't want to do that. We just want to take advantage of existing buildings that we already have in spaces and, enter in a cooperative agreement like that. And so, there's 2 routes you can go. The nice thing about our arrangement is that's not a separate levy. Wadsworth pays 1 tax. For the Wadsworth City Schools, they don't pay 2 different taxes for a career center. So that's kind of the benefit of that. But always changing, always looking for new programs. Every year we look at what could we add. Maybe some of the programs that aren't doing so well. What's going to go away? Those types of things.
Sometimes the space, as you mentioned, it could be a roadblock or a hurdle, if you will. Like if I tell you, Roger, I think we need more truckers. And you say, well, yeah, Bruce, you're right. But, to have such a facility is probably not feasible.
And if anybody's seen our labs at the high school, you'll see exactly what you mean there. They're big. It's not a normal classroom. Our carpentry program lab is huge. The automotives lab at Wadsworth High School is huge. There's a lot of equipment in those labs. They're costly. So it is a big deal to add a program or, we do get some financial help from the state. Wadsworth City School District gets money specific for career tech education every year that goes to the programs and equipment and upkeep and all that. But it's not your typical high school classroom. They're big spaces.
You mentioned Wadsworth initiated the Four Cities Compact in 1972. I had two brothers that both took advantage of the Wayne County vocational program at Smithville, but there was kind of a stigma. I had to stick up for them a few times, the oldest of three boys, and someone one day said, well, you know, those are the guys that get in trouble all the time, or those are the girls that can't do it in the classroom. They're kind of like the cast-offs. And I said, no, that's not true. My brother, you know, was a metallurgist for years, and my other brother was an electrician and did all sorts of other jobs and got a good foundation at Smithville. Has that stigma been broken, do you think?
Yeah, well, we still deal with that some, because again, people our age, they have that, you know, that thought of vocational education being a lesser education. But you know, our state superintendent, Di Maria, was talking to the Ohio legislator recently, and he said, don't think that career tech education is a lesser education. He said, don't make that mistake, because it's not. And he is somebody, I think in his time, now he's stepping down, but I think in his time as superintendent, his eyes were really open to all the opportunities. And I like to say in career tech, Bruce, we've got all kinds of students in there. And truly, we have some of the best and brightest kids at Wadsworth High School. You know, when I look at the stage at graduation and I see the top 5 students in the class, the last few years, we've had career tech kids on that stage, top 5 of their class, you know, and you know, we have an engineering program that is top notch. I mean, you have your 4.0 plus students in there that want to be engineers, and they're in a program like that. You know, we have our nursing students and athletic health and wellness that take anatomy and physiology for college credit. I mean, we have some of the best and brightest A+ students, but then we also have those students, school might not be their thing. You know, they love their passion is they want to work with their hands. They want to, you know, doesn't mean they're not smart. It just means that maybe traditional school is not their thing.
Their talents maybe with cars,
right,
or in the wood shop.
Right, you watch those kids fix something,
yeah.
and you watch a kid put an engine together. You can't tell me that kid's not smart. It's how they're smart, and that's how they, you know, that's how they show it. When they get into those labs, they might be CD students, but you put them in that lab, all of a sudden they're an A student because they're really engaged. They're interested in what they're doing. They're using their hands. They're applying. It's not math on a you know, a desk. I'm using the math in my head to build this thing, and they like that. That makes sense to them when you can apply it. So yeah, we've got all kinds of students in the compact.
I had a student at Black River at first period government who couldn't stay awake. And I said, I kind of jostled him. I said, what, you don't like this subject? It's great. He said, well, I milked 90 cows today. What did you do? And so he went on in truck and diesel at Medina and was at the top of his class. And, you know, I guess I was kind of knocked back a step or two. But you're right. They do have skills in a particular area, and then they want to learn more and be better in that situation. What about 2 or 3 programs you could highlight in each school district? And I think Joanna may have some pictures of some of those people and programs that maybe we could talk about for a second.
Well, you know, Barberton, we have the most of the programs are at Barberton, and one of the programs that has just been good for so long is the Advancement to Nursing program over there. It is, we've got a partnership with Barberton Summa Hospital. 3 days a week, our seniors go over there. They go to the hospital. They don't even go to Barberton High School, or they go there for a minute and then they go over to the hospital. And they spend their time over there. And, you know, one of our students, and I do think we have a picture of Whitney Fimple, one of the cool things that career tech students can do is they can compete in student skills competitions. So Whitney there from Wadsworth, great nursing student, first in the nation in HOSA, which is Health Occupation Association there of America, first in the nation this year. And this was a crazy year with COVID.
Roger, what hospital is she going to? So I'll sign up. I need to be there.
That's right. We want Whitney working, being a nurse on our floor someday. But yeah, she is just an outstanding kid. So, you know, that program just, you know, they do skills competitions. They get industry recognized credentials. They get college credit. They walk the floors of Barberton Hospital, and they get to sit in on surgeries and all kinds of, they get exposed to all kinds of different things. What an advantage, Bruce. Think of those when they go to college, and most of those kids go to four-year college. SUMA will come and they'll talk to them and tell them, when you go to Akron U or Malone or wherever you're going to go for nursing, come work for us. We'll give you flex hours. We'll give you a paying job, more job experience while you're working on your four-year degree.
Yeah, because there certainly is a shortage of nurses,
right.
Not only Northeast Ohio, but nationwide. So yeah, it to me is a deal that you can't refuse, maybe.
You can't. And again, you think of a kid going to college, they're going with so much more than your typical student that's, graduating from Wadsworth High School that does not take the program, that wants to get into the medical field. Our guys have a big, and girls have a big leg up there. Other programs, and I'll just give you one from each school. Maybe Copley has that new animal care program. It's dynamite. That program is fabulous. We just graduated our first group of seniors. Had some great Wadsworth students in there. They want to be veterinarians or vet techs. And again, they're a lot of those I posted on our Facebook page of what they're all doing. But the schools they're going to, I think 3 or 4 of them got big scholarships. 3 of them got scholarships to the University of Findlay. I think $13,000 a year for every year they're at Findlay in the veterinary program. Just fantastic stuff. Norton, we have the Athletic Health and Wellness program. Great program for students that want to be physical therapists. If you want to get in, sports medicine, athletic training, personal fitness and wellness. Great program there. And then the Wadsworth programs, automotives. I think we got a picture maybe of the blue tip parade that we just had. We had our souped up Camaro that our automotive students did a few years ago.
There it is, right there. Yeah.
There it is in the blue tip. And again, the carpentry program. I think we have a picture of the house that they just built. Our senior just built. It sold at auction, public auction, for $202,000 this year. The money that we made from the sale of the house goes right back into the program. So there's the new homeowners in the picture, and Chris Kali, one of the best carpentry teachers in the state. Not many programs around the state actually build a house like Chris and his guys do there. Tom Mountjoy's is assistant with him there. Engineering design, Kip Shipley, Wadsworth High School. Programming, design, and robotics with Jason Van Kirk. There's a picture of one of Kip Shipley's students. That's Megan Moore. She's the daughter of Steve Moore. And I always say, Bruce, you have the administrators, a lot of their kids take career tech. And that would surprise a lot of people. My son took career tech. Steve Moore's son, the Barberton principal, Henry Murin, all his kids took career tech because they understand. Whether they're going to college or going to work, they see the opportunities there. Media communications at Wadsworth is another great program there. So 20 different programs total throughout the compact.
And the counselors try to let the kids know that these are available, and they might again get calls from parents or grandparents that say, hey, they're interested in automotive or anything. Then they go from there and kind of are there problems with getting into some classes?
Well, sometimes because you gotta. Some of the programs are very competitive, like animal care, nursing.
Right.
I mean, it would really surprise people to see the level of students sometimes that does not get into one of those programs because they are that competitive.
Wow.
So there's that issue. We only have so many seats in the programs. We only have cosmetology is another one at Barberton. Every year that program, we have way more applicants than we can take. Criminal science at Barberton is another one. It is a very popular program there. So there's some space limitations. And then, sometimes if a student's credit deficient, they'd like to get into the program, but we're more concerned about them graduating than, maybe that takes precedent there. So sometimes there's that. And then there's sometimes it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And this is just the way at high school scheduling. Kids sometimes have to make choices. There's only certain classes that are offered at certain times, and that with the compact programs, that's how we are. So you do run. We try to work around those the best we can, but sometimes those issues do pop up.
What about cross-gender? What do you try to do to get boys in nursing because my mom was a registered nurse and she really enjoyed working with male nurses or girls in carpentry, or men in childcare. What do you try to do, or the counselors try to do? I know it's kind of an uphill battle sometimes.
It is, and we work hard at it. With everything, the equity focus across our country today, we've been working on this for a few years, really. Our compact catalog that we put out, I always try to put pictures of non-traditional students. So if we have a female student in automotives, which we do almost every year, I always try to get a picture of that student in the catalog to show people, look at these great things that these students do. Males in nursing, we really try to emphasize. We tell the counselors, boy, if you have a non-traditional student that's interested, and they're hesitant. I don't want to be the only, I don't want to be the only girl in carpentry. Which we have female students in carpentry every year. Then if we can talk to them. But all our teachers are very aware of that. They want to make non-traditional students feel very welcome, and we really try to put an emphasis on that.
What about the percentage? The students in again Copley, Norton, Barberton, Wadsworth. What do the percentages range of students going to the Four Cities Compact?
The biggest two percentages, Wadsworth and Barberton, are always close, and that's because they have the majority of the programs, and it's easier for a Barberton kid to take a program at Barberton. They're more comfortable doing that, but they're always close. Wadsworth and Barberton make up, they're about 33% of the compact students, and then Norton and Copley they'll fill in the rest. And again, they just don't offer as many programs at those schools, but we do have Copley students going to all the other ones, and Norton as well. Overall, it's about 22%, I think, of the students of any class that will be in a compact program.
And they're a little bit smaller. So Norton, a little bit smaller student enrollment, and Copley, a little bit more. So that plays into it as well. Right. You talk about how the teachers go out of their way to make students welcome. I would imagine, the other day I was walking around town and I could have got 6 different jobs, Roger. I could have been at the post office and restaurants, and I could have been a roofer, all kind of stuff. My wife just kind of laughed, but how do you get teachers to fill some of those positions you may have?
Well, it's interesting. I think we might have a picture of our new pharmacy teacher, Katie Amos. Katie is our career tech teachers. That's another unique thing about career tech. They're not your traditional teachers. They don't go to college to be teachers. Like Katie went to be a pharmacy technician. So she worked in the field, I think, for 12 years. And then it's kind of backwards. We hire them as a teacher, then they go get a crash course in teaching. And so there's Katie, and you can see the pharmaceutical science program over at Copley, which will be brand new this year. But yeah, Katie, for 12 years, she worked in a pharmacy. She worked at CVS, and then she worked for Summa. And so then they get hired as teacher, and then they get a crash course in Teaching 101. She'll be learning how to teach while she's actually teaching. And of course, we help her, and the support I can give, and the Copley administrators and colleagues and fellow teachers will all help her out. But they are unique in that they know their profession very well. And then someone like her, she really always had the desire to teach, and then she finds this crazy unique opportunity, like I can teach and still be involved with pharmacy.
Yeah, that was an article that Joanna pulled up from the Beacon Journal I saw the other day, front page article, and it went back and it talked about Katie and her background and how she really was looking forward to getting involved in that. And you kind of really fell into that one. Does every other position kind of work out that easily, or sometimes it's a little difficult?
It's not that easy, and we were fortunate when we started that program. We have some really, because of our connections at Summa, those were some of the first people we talked with. And when we met with representatives, we asked them, gingerly, tenderly, you might have an employee that would make a great teacher that we could maybe talk to. And it was really cool, Bruce. They looked around the table. They all thought of the same person. And they said, well, we don't know if she would want to do it, but she would be a fantastic teacher. She's one of our best pharmacy techs, and she's just a really good person and very sharp, and it was Katie, and we ended up getting her. So no, that one kind of fell on our lap.
Well, and people living longer, we go to the pharmacy. They need the opportunities are there for those people. And again, it'll be a science, probably math background students, but they're really good jobs, and they certainly are needed in our area.
Yeah. So yeah, when we had a program, we always try to look at in demand. What's in demand? We always try to look at high wage. Pharmacy tech's not necessarily high wage, but it's a great foot into the door into that world. And then, pharmacist is, believe it or not, an in-demand job. SUMA and everybody is looking for pharmacy techs. Yes. And I think we'll probably get some students that'll start down that road, and they'll maybe branch off then. And like Katie said in the article, it's just a great overall medical. If someone is interested in medicine, if you want to be a doctor, whatever, that's a great background to have with the pharmacist and that angle, understanding things and taking medical terminology. And we're going to shoot for the pharmacy tech certification at the end of the 2 years, which would be like a state recognized credential that would enable a student to work right away as a pharmacy tech.
Fantastic. What about if a student wants to be in a particular program, but you don't offer it? You say you have 20 programs. What if, and I, again, with administrator at Black River, we worked with Medina County with heating and air conditioning, and also optical, where they would be, again, helping out in a optician's office. Could a student from Copley go to Medina, or do they have to be from Wadsworth?
Yeah, we will have, from time to time, a Wadsworth student that will go to the Medina County Career Center. And we have a good relationship with them, and I'm all about kids. I'm always going to do what's best for kids. If we don't offer something and they offer it there, and a good example would maybe be diesel mechanic. Right. They've got a great program over there, absolutely. I'm not going to, I want kids to do what they want to do and be able to do that. Now, if it's a matter of HVAC, I would first talk to the student and say, would you consider our carpentry program? Because when they build that house, you're going to work with HVAC.
That's
We're going to bring
related.
in Kimmel. This year it was Kimmel who donated all the HVAC for the house, and they're going to show you this is how we install everything. They're going to let you work along with them, and then it's not uncommon for our students to get jobs in HVAC, in plumbing, right out of high school, because they've worked with. We've got some students over at Paramount right now that have been there for a couple years. So, and then you see the whole process. That's the cool thing. If you do the carpentry program, you'll see the whole process. But yeah, certainly, I'm always going to do what's best for kids.
What if a student tries for maybe a week or two into a program and just doesn't maybe hit it off with the teacher or the classmates and wants to come back to the homeschool? Is that an option?
It happens every year. A kid will get into it, and I always tell them that's okay. We encourage them to at least go through a semester of it to see maybe it gets better. Maybe just sometimes kids it's a little difficult because they're going to a different building for a couple periods and it's an adjustment. So we ask that they kind of wait and see. We'll work help you. What's the problem right now? What can we help you with? And we work through those issues. But if they really don't like it, we always tell kids you don't have to. No one's after the first year, you don't want to come back as a senior, that's fine, And I always tell kids, Bruce, what's the worst thing that can happen? You take that program, you think you want to do something, you get into it as a junior, you hate it, okay, scratch it off now. You don't want to do that anymore, and you know that, and you found that out. Sure. That's great. And then I always go on the flip side, what's the best thing that can happen? You get into that program as a junior in high school, and you love it. And I see it every year. You can create every advantage for yourself in those next couple years. Kids like Megan Moore, that's exactly what they do. Megan's doing an internship at Continental this summer before she goes to Ohio State for engineering. You can't tell me with all those experiences she's taken from that engineering program, she's going to have such an advantage over other freshmen at Ohio State in engineering. It's not even going to be funny. And that's what our successful students do.
You must have been humbled to receive the Administrator of the Year award. And you knew I was going to ask you this question. You're a humble guy. Administrator of the Year with the Technical Career Association. What did you feel about that? And quite a surprise.
Well, it was a great surprise, and it's a great honor. And you know, there's so many people. I was the board president this past year of Ohio CCS, and that's the Ohio Association of Compact and Comprehensive Career Technical Schools. And I just know from that association, there's so many people that are more deserving of that award. But it's very nice. It is very humbling. And I love career tech education. I didn't always feel that way, honestly, when I was, it was always academics and, social studies and pure academics. But the world of career tech is so big, and there's academics is a big part of that, but it's so much bigger. And so very humbled, but thank you.
How many people are assisting you? You may be the main person out there for the compact, but are there, I'm sure you work with the other administrators in the building, and do you have someone that assists you specifically for the compact?
Yeah, a lot of help. Laura Kerstetter is our secretary. Ryan Whited is our job training counselor. Jody McGinnis, who's a Wadsworth counselor, is coming to the compact this year as our compact counselor, and then all the people at the building, the principals, the counselors. They are fantastic throughout the 4 districts.
Roger, we enjoyed it today. We reminisced a little bit, had a lot of good information for the people about the compact. And what do you got there?
There, a little present for Bruce on the loose.
I'll tell you what, that
we'll see, wear that with pride.
Purple isn't my color, but I'll make an exception. I'll make an exception. Thanks for viewing Bruce on the Loose, and we will see you next week.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.